outside is frightening, and I'm longing for some warmer days. But there's no reason for complaining, 'cause you're watching Joey Jones on your holidays, yeah. Here we go. Hey! Alright everybody, it's the Christmas hangout with me, yours truly. What are we gonna do today? A couple of really cool things. I want to do a quick 2024 wrap up. What happened this year? What happened in my life? What gear did I acquire? What was the coolest gear of this year? A couple questions that you asked I want to answer as well. So this is like a mixed session between, I'm showing you a couple cool licks, celebrating Christmas time, drinking tea, drinking scotch, eating cookies, and yeah, just having a good time. So that's not your typical 8-minute get a quick lesson in video. It's something that you can enjoy and lean back. So maybe pour yourself a scotch or get yourself a tea, or save it for your playlist later if you don't have time right now. But we're gonna get into this year and a celebration of what happened this year on this channel. What gear do I have in front of me? Just a cool little hangout. I'm gonna show a couple guitars. Just like an impromptu session here, okay? So let's get right into this. I want to start, first off, with what I have here. I came prepared, so holiday sweater, of course, right? Packers beanie, because I'm a huge Packers fan, obviously. And then I have a couple of cool things here. So I got some tea, some herb tea in my Led Zeppelin mug, just to get, you know, the feeling right. Then we have some Christmas cookies right here. I don't know if you can see them. It's not too many left because I ate a lot of them already. And then I have a little bit of scotch here. I'm going to have a scotch tonight because, you know, Sunday night, NFL football Sunday, why not have a little bit of scotch? A lot of people ask about the scotch that I'm using or I'm drinking. I like Glenlivet, but I'm not sponsored, so I'm not getting any money, anything. I just like Glenlivet. 12 years, 15 years, both are great. And that's how we're gonna do this session today. But first off, maybe let's start with what happened this year, because this year in my life was pretty crazy, actually. Apart from getting like a signature guitar, which is this one, a couple other really nice things happened. Couple really nice things happened. It started with actually putting out songs with my own band again. My own band is SHADY BELLE. I'm still getting a lot of question what band I'm playing in. My band is called SHADY BELLE. BELLE. So that's everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music, and it started with Rise Again. I don't know if you've heard Rise Again. It was the first thing that we put out, and it quickly became like a, not really a hit because we're an unknown band, but it became a song where immediately people gravitated towards it. It had 1 million views before even being launched, 1 million views on Instagram just as the promo for the actual single drop. And then when the single dropped, like quickly went up to like 100,000 streams, and that by a band that nobody knew before. To me, that was like the first highlight in 2024. January 2024 started with like a hit for me, or at least for my dimensions, you know. So Rise Again, cool song. Cool way to start a new band, having so many people like that song, and so many people asking, hey, where are you playing live? That was great, and we got good momentum there. Released 2 more singles, but that was like a true highlight, getting so many congratulations for that first song. Steve Lukather said it's a killer song. Brian May gave it a like. Things you just can't imagine as a person like me, you know. So that was just flattering. It was like humbling experience as well, and just a great way to start off the year. You know, just starting with the song that a lot of people like is a great way as a musician to start a year. But other cool things happened as well. For instance, I got an article in, I guess the biggest German guitar magazine, Gitarre und Bass. Here, yours truly, in the magazine, you know, like with my Telecaster and stuff, and then talking about gear, you know, like a 2-pager for yours truly. That to me was great as well. Talked about my gear, talked about how I became a musician and all these different things. So if you want to read that, grab that one here. That was pretty cool too. So getting coverage in like being, let's just say being recognized by mainstream guitar media, if that is a thing, was pretty cool as well. And another great milestone, if you want. Couple cool collaborations as well. I collaborated with Laura Cox, who is a great blues rock performer from France. She is awesome. She kills it live as well. We had a reel on Instagram that actually did pretty well. And with us being Europeans, it was just easy, you know, to collaborate. Pretty easy and pretty cool. And then obviously the entire guitar thing, you know, having a signature guitar made by your favorite guitar builder, Nik Huber, is amazing. It's an amazing feeling. I have an entire video about this guitar where I explain everything, the specs. You can watch it on my channel. It wasn't too long ago, so you'll find it. And this guitar has been in my hands ever since. I grab it almost every day because the neck feels great and, you know, awesome thing. And also there was another thing that maybe I didn't talk about so much, but actually Fender, for all the stuff that I did on Instagram with my beat up telly that you all love so much, actually sent me as a thank you one of their new Player Series 2 Telecasters. I'm gonna grab it real quick. It's this one. So this one was given to me by Fender, and that was a very, very nice present. And another one of these milestones where I was like, wow, Fender as a global guitar corporation hands you a guitar just because they're thankful for what you're doing with the brand, or how are you representing the brand with your own Fender Telecaster. That was amazing. This is a great guitar, you know. I did say a little bit about it in the comparison video between the 2 Les Pauls. There's a comparison video out there on my channel where I compared this to my custom shop Telecaster. And this is actually a fine guitar for the price. And I recommend it. It's a pretty good guitar, but that was another absolute milestone for this year. And then the final highlight of the year for me, if I had to break it down, was the podcast that I did with Doc Rappaport on my channel. So not a lot of people watched that podcast so far, but to me, it was an absolute milestone because I love Doc Rappaport. He's such a source of inspiration for me. He's just one of the best players that I've ever seen. Like, if I could be one guitar player with one skill set, I would choose to be Doc Rappaport, just because he's an amazing player, amazing vibrato, bends on point, bluesy, but also heartbreakingly melodic sometimes. And he plays an Edgar winner, and he's just an awesome dude. And I did like 90 minutes or something with him and geeked out over EL34 high gain amps and stuff. So if you want to watch that, it's a really cool podcast about really geeky stuff between 2 guitar players who just respect each other. And that's just the overall pattern for this year for me, is like being recognized by, you know, print media global corporations like Fender, getting my own signature guitar, it just felt like I arrived in a sphere where I wanted to be for a long time, being respected by just Doug Rappaport on the podcast saying that I'm a great player multiple times. I'm like, no, you are. I'm not, you know? I'm just very, very humbled by what happened in the span of 12 months. And that's just crazy. And that's what I'm very, very thankful for. By the way, what are you thankful for this year? Let me know in the comments. What happened in your year? I'm interested to read a couple things here, so... what are you grateful for? Let me know. So that is pretty much my 2024 wrapped up. A couple really cool things happened. I'm beyond humbled. Also, I should say I'm so thankful for the growth of this channel in the past couple months. Like, we're at 17,000 subscribers or something at this point. I think I started the year with 3,000. For those of you who don't know, I started out on Instagram. That's why my Instagram channel is a lot bigger with, I guess, 87,000 followers. And we're at 17,000 subscribers here on YouTube because I started YouTube 2 years later. But now it feels like YouTube has taken off a little bit and the community is growing. And that's great. Great to read all your comments. Great to receive your likes and subscriptions. That is really, really nice. I'm super thankful. And I'm happy for you loyal fans checking out my videos every week. And I hope you learned something. And I guess with me teaching you cool killer licks every single week, I think we should know each other a little bit better and get to know each other a little bit better, which is why on my Instagram channel, I gave my followers the chance to ask whatever question they wanted to ask, and I'm gonna answer these questions today. So these questions are gear related, so pedals, guitars, but then also life related, what I'm doing in my life when I'm not playing guitar, all these different things. So we're gonna go over these questions now. So why not get started right away? So before we get into the first question, I'm gonna, pour myself a little bit of scotch. First question though, oh, that's a good scotch. I just love this one. Man, absolute killer. So first question was, where are you from? What's your accent? I guess a lot of Americans can't quite figure out my accent because they're thinking that I'm American, and I'm not, because I'm from Germany. I'm actually living in Berlin, and the reason why I may or may not speak like an American is because I grew up with a lot of things that are part of American culture, like American music. I really watched a lot of concert VHSs with my dad where people spoke English. So my introduction to the English language came pretty early, and I was super interested in American music, American culture, American history. At university, I studied American history for a bit. So for me, American culture is not foreign, really. I had American teachers, I had American lecturers. I learned a lot of things in life and a lot of things in music from Americans, so just had a lot of touch points with Americans in my life. So maybe that's why you're sometimes mistaken me for being American. I'm not. I'm German, which is why, I'm eating these Christmas cookies called Spekulatius. Say it with me, guys. Spekulatius. It's a cool Christmas cookie that tastes pretty spicy, I would say. It's sweet, but also spicy. It's something that, especially in southern Germany, where I'm from the south, you eat this a lot, and they're crazy good, especially if you combine it with a scotch. It's amazing. Sweet, crunchy, and then a little bit of, that honey thing from scotch. Amazing combination. Next question, desert island guitar. That's a hard one because I want to say this one, but I don't think it's the desert island guitar. Because if I have to pick a desert island guitar, I'm gonna have to pick one that I can play every genre that I want to play with. Which, with this guitar, is pretty hard to do, I would say. So, probably, desert island guitar would be, I guess, the Nik Huber Surfmeister. Currently it's missing a string, but I can still play it for you. So here's the Surfmeister. I hope it's in tune. It's not. Let's just tune it up real quick. So now we're all tuned up, and this is my desert island guitar because Surfmeister by Nik Huber. It's like, as you can see, semi-hollow, and the cool thing about it is it's like mahogany. It's out of mahogany, and that's why it sounds warm, and it sounds killer, and it sounds less poly in a way, but you have opportunities to do something else with it. For instance, the middle position sounds like a telly middle position. And it's pretty much, I always think of it as a thin line telly with like a Gibson style thin line telly, and you can play everything with that guitar. Even without the E string, you know? You know, it's wiry when you have the bridge pickup on. It's also super warm neck pickup. You know, these kinds of sounds you need to get out of a guitar if you want to have a desert island guitar. So this one, definitely the desert island guitar. Next question. Most valuable guitar is the next question. Most valuable in what sense? Like emotional value, like emotional attachment and these kinds of things. That would be my, it would be this one. It would be my 1958 Gibson Les Paul Custom Shop because my dad bought it for me. And that was a promise he made to me when I was 12 years old. And, you know, not an easy kid, didn't want to go to school. And he was like, hey man, I know you love guitars and you want to have a Les Paul, you know, by the one and only Gibson brand. He was like, if you finish school and you finish with good grades, I'm going to buy you a Les Paul, one that you can choose. And I was like, all right, probably have to be a good student from now on or a good pupil or whatever. So it's this one because it kept me on the right track, I would say, because I really wanted a guitar like that. And it's from my dad. And it's a cool symbol in that because my dad is born 1958. Papa Jones, and this is a 1958 reissue. So to me, that's a little bit of like a symbolic meaning there, and it's forever going to stay with me. I love Les Pauls, and I love my dad, obviously, and that was a cool promise, and I kept working to get this. Yeah, so this one, the most valuable. Now the next question, I don't know about this one. So, coolest new effects pedals this year. I have a take on that. Bear with me on this one. Guitar pedals have an innovation issue, in my opinion, because 90% of what's being put in the market as new pedals are old circuits, my opinion. Are there twists and new little ankles to these circuits? Yes. Are there still kind of being tube screamers, blues breakers, you know, archetypes of original circuits? Also, yes. So to me, exciting new effects pedals, there are not that many coming out per year, in my opinion. I'm just not the guy who has like a huge pedal board and is like a soundscapist trying to go through like 500 different menus on some synth pedal or something like that. I need a couple things to get emotions across so you guys, when you watch the videos, feel emotionally touched in a certain way. But I found out through 25 years of playing that I can do that with a couple drives, a couple delays, maybe a fuzz and a wah-wah pedal. So all the things that have been in the market for, decades at this point. So if we're talking about coolest new effects pedals this year, I'm not quite the guy to talk to because I'm not a pedal nerd. I have a couple pedals, I've shown it in other videos. So with that being said, with my very limited view on this, because I really don't, follow all the pedal trends or anything like that. There is one pedal that I really, really liked that came out this year and actually was being sent to me, and it's this one, bear with me. It is the Enigmatic by Universal Audio. Cool pedal, it's a dumble in a box. It's not quite what I'm using at home, but I tried it, I tested it, I did a reel on Instagram on it. It's a really, really good pedal. It sounds good if you're that kind of person who likes a dumble sound, which is not me. But I can totally sympathize with the people wanting that kind of sound, and it is in there, guys. If you want a dumble-like sound and you don't want to travel heavy, use an Enigmatic. It's a really, really good pedal. There you go. By the way, is there any Scotch brands that you think that I definitely should try out? I like smooth single malts. If you have any recommendations, I'm happy to just widen my horizon a little bit and expand my horizon. So with that being said, let's dive into another question. Any new gear acquisitions this year? Let me think. Let me look around here in my little man cave. It's the Fractal FM9. I'm using a Fractal FM9. You may or may not see that my Kemper is turned off all the time when I'm doing the videos. And that's because I'm using the Fractal FM9. There were just a lot of friends recommending this to me. So I tried it out and I'm really, 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 impressed by how good it sounds. I have a couple amps styled up. I'm gonna do a video about this as well. Super happy with the FM9. Totally fits my workflow here for YouTube, but that's about the only real gear acquisition that I can think of right now. Here's another question. Worst part of being a musician nowadays? Buddy, my answer might surprise you. See, here's the thing with being a musician nowadays. You could easily fall into the trap of just complaining about how bad you have it nowadays as a musician, without the gigs that used to be happening before COVID, without the royalties that were coming in before everything was streaming. You could say, and you could easily fall into that trap and say, oh, woe is me. It's the worst thing ever. Being a musician is tough. And yes, it is, it absolutely is, especially if you want to make it a business or anything like that. It is absolutely tough. But here's the thing that I hate the most about being a musician today: hearing other musicians complain about it. Why? Because some of the complaints are 100% justified. Others are just, a lack of understanding how music has worked for the past 70, 80 years. So if people are complaining about, how Spotify takes every opportunity away from them to make money, and nobody's paying for this, nobody's paying for your show, nobody's doing this, nobody's doing that, no one gives you money. To me, sometimes there's an attitude problem with that, just because who says you should get paid for playing music? That's an absolute privilege, and only very, very few people get to live with that privilege, And if you're just throwing some product on the market, meaning your music, but there's no demand for it, then you shouldn't be surprised that nobody gives you money for it. And Spotify, in my opinion, as much as I'm having, problems with their business model as well, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of Spotify. It's supply and demand, and if people are demanding your music, people will pay for your vinyls. But if you're a small independent artist and nobody knows you and your marketing sucks, then you shouldn't be surprised that it's not a viable business, And that kind of complaining is an attitude problem that I, sometimes have a little bit of difficulties with, because if you look at the music business for the last, 60 years, or let's just say the last 20 years, 30 years, it's almost always been the case that musicians had to make their money with merch rather than the music. You can watch interviews with the Metallica managers back in the 90s. Even back then they were pointing towards the merch booth and saying that's where the money is made. So even with arena bands at the time, they already knew the music would be, you know, the kind of thing you would have to do so people show up, but then you would make your money, or the most of your money you would make with merch. And that thing just got more and more and more and more. So nowadays you earn absolutely nothing with the music, which is a shame. I don't like it. I would love it to be different, but it just isn't. So why would I complain? I just have to go with the flow, you know? If there's nobody paying for music, okay, what else can I do then? And if I don't like doing anything else, then I have to be happy with not being a financially successful musician, you know? Music was always the medium to get people to a venue, and then they would leave their money for your merch, for your vinyls, for whatever you have to offer. So expecting now that music should be profitable enough without doing anything else wasn't even realistic back in the 90s or even the 80s. Maybe if you landed a pop hit on radio, that's when you made some money with music alone. But for niche rock bands, that was never a viable option. So you had to tour and you had to sell shirts, hoodies, mugs, vinyl, whatever you had. So I guess some of the complaining just comes from a lack of understanding business sometimes. And that's really annoying to me when I talk to other musicians. You know, the woe is me attitude, the we have it so bad. Well, you choose that path to begin with. And if you went into this expecting to make millions of money, then you went in for the wrong reasons anyway, I feel like. I mean, you can disagree, but that's my opinion. Another question, totally unrelated. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Hopefully this team right here. But let's be honest, let's go off topic for a second, because I feel like we always talk about guitar stuff here, and there is other sides to me as well. So I'm a huge football fan. I'm a Packers fan since the beginning of me watching football. So who's going to win the Super Bowl? What's your take? Let me know in the comments. This year is hard because the Lions are just, oh my God, are they good? You know, the Lions are amazingly good. The problem is, I am worried that the Lions will fall back into their old habits right when it matters the most. I feel like they could fall back into the same old Lions mentality when it really counts. Maybe in the NFC Championship game, I feel like this could be the first time that it actually happens. Packers need another year to be a Super Bowl contender, I feel like, but I'm very happy and I really like our chances next year. So I'm good with whatever happens as a Packers fan. So could be Lions if they don't fall back into their old habits, or it could just be the Bills, because if the Bills one time in their life pull it off to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, that's when it's going to happen. If they get past the Chiefs, they're going to win the Super Bowl. So to me, it's either Bills or Lions, depending on who really gets their act together in the playoffs. Last question, I guess, is favorite people you met this year. Well, a couple of people come to mind. So first of all, Ari Shabbat from Shabbat Guitars is a very special character, but I really enjoyed getting to know him this year. We were at Guitar Summit in Mannheim, and he had a booth, and we went to dinner with the Nik Huber guys and with Ari Shabbat. And the guy is amazing, has an amazing dry sense of humor. I wasn't quite getting it the first couple of minutes, to be honest, but as I'm an approachable person, I really got it just like 30 minutes in. I realized that he is an absolute genius and his guitars speak for themselves. You should check out Shabbat Guitars, really good guitars. Other than that, it was really funny meeting Rob Chapman this year at Guitar Summit as well. So we've been texting on Instagram for a long time, but we finally met at Guitar Summit, and we were just equally sleep deprived because he was like basically grinding 3 days in a row at his booth, like the Chapman booth, which is hard, you know. Everyone who's ever worked at a trade show, my God, it's killing your energy, 3 days in a row, you're just done. But we were just equally sleep deprived. I had a workshop where I showed my new Nik Huber guitar, and I was totally tired afterwards. All the tension just fell off, and I was just very tired. And met Rob downstairs, and he was like, "Your riffs are the best, man." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks. I'm super tired." And he's like, "I'm tired too. I want to have a drink," these kinds of things. And just like that, I think our little Christmas hangout comes to an end. I'm enjoying my guitars, and I'm appreciating every single one of you who's subscribing on my channel. You don't know what this means to me, that you're tuning in pretty much every week to learn something new, or learn about sounds, or playing, or, guitars, whatever it is. I really, really hope we can build this into like a loyal fan base. I hope you enjoy the, occasional funny video like this one as well. Can't always be about, 8-minute lessons here and there. Sometimes you have to have a little bit of fun, I feel like. And just want to say that I'm super, super thankful for everybody tuning into the videos, leaving comments. A lot of the positivity too. There's not a lot of, negative bullshit in this little community, and I really, really like that. I hope we can keep it that way. All the best to you, to your loved ones, your families. I've been Joey, and I'll see you in the next video in 2025.